Hi. So this is Shushobhan Mukherjee from Prime Infoserv. Thank you for attention for this video. This video will be talking about VAPT concept note. So what is VAPT? It is vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So before we go about what is VAPT, what is the deep dive, how do we do the VAPT, let us understand about our company. So Prime Infoserv is around 15 years old in the market. We are having 450 plus global client. We are having various certifications in the domain, and we are also member of various associations. Since we are a cybersecurity focused company, definitely we have various certified resources in the domain in order to deep dive into the exercise and add values to our customers. Fundamentally, we have two different verticals. One is governance, risk and compliant, and managed security services. So VAPT, what is today's agenda? It is part of our GRC practice. So these are the few of the logos where we have worked as our proven testimonials and our skills. So fundamentally, if we talk about VAPT follows certain processes where this is the pictorial diagram to explain how the exercise has been conducted. So fundamentally, initially we'll define a scope and then we'll have the asset inventory, we'll collect those information, then we'll be running certain tools using which we'll be detecting some of the vulnerabilities, and then we'll be also manually correlating those identified vulnerabilities to find out POCs, find out problem areas, and defining the mitigation plan. Not only that, so we'll be also doing the classification with the CVSS benchmarking, CS benchmarking, and all. So based on that, the reporting will be created. So VA is basically vulnerability assessment, where we detect the vulnerability, and based on those severity mapping like high, low, medium, and critical, we'll try to do actually penetration, which is nothing but to try to hack the system, try to penetrate on the identified vulnerabilities, and verify the kind of vulnerabilities and the impact we have apprehended during our VA exercise. It is actually real time, it will impact that much or not. So based on that, actual severity classifications like high, low, medium, critical information will be defined, and based on that, the organization resiliency will be identified, and the mitigations has to be done in order to mitigate those observations and findings. The same thing is represented in different way. Identification of the target based on our asset inventory. They'll be scanning the different kind of open ports as per the different kind of benchmarking. There might be SANS top 20. If you had a web-based situation, then OWSP top 10. So then we'll be doing a system fingerprinting where the operating systems and the services on the target to be identified, then identification of vulnerabilities trying to exploit, and then finally the result preparation and the severity classification, report writing and submitting to the end customer. What is the kind of outcome it is expected? As I said, outcome will be evaluating the risk posture of the organization, identifying the vulnerability, try to understand how much impact it might can have on an enterprise network, and accordingly the identified vulnerabilities, it has to be mitigated. So fundamentally VAPT comes under the 27,000 framework only. It is one of the control under 27,001 framework, where we will try to identify the possible risk and have those mitigations plans. So as I mentioned in my earlier section, like here we will be following various kind of framework, which includes SANS, OWSP, NIST, MITRE kind of framework, CERT-In kind of guidelines. So understand as per that, idea is to how we can identify, detect, have response mechanism, create the protection systems, have those remediation, and this is a continual improvement kind of journey. As per 27,000, as we talked about, is kind of PDCA kind of life cycles. Accordingly, we'll try to improve our heterogeneous infrastructure. So these are the few of the name of the tools. It's not that every tool will be used for every situations. So there are open source tools, there are licensed tools. Based on the situations, based on the budget, based on the techno-commercials ROI, we'll be using the tools. Many of the names are mentioned here. So like commonly used tools are Nmap, Nessus, Metasploit framework. Then if it is kind of a web application, then we do NetSparker, Akunetics, VAPT kind of tools. If we are doing a source code review, then we use SonarQube, SciHunt, Checkmarks kind of a tools. If we are doing kind of PCI DSS, ASVs kind of scans, then we use Qualys on different kind of tools. So these are the few indicative tools to give you a glimpse, like what are the possibilities. But again, as I said, every situation, every case can be different. Based on that particular situation, we'll be identifying the tools and accordingly we'll be deploying those tools. So what is the kind of report format? So definitely observation, finding, their ratings, matrices, description, what are the possible impacts, possible remediations, and on those remediation, the reference links through which it will be justified and accordingly report will be presented. So this is a kind of a sample report structure where we, as we have said, the vulnerability levels, there are possible CVSS benchmarking, then based on that the summaries and other things are defined and possible, as I said, vulnerability name. There, once we do the first phase 1 audit, then we'll identify the vulnerability, then we'll give you for the mitigation, and once mitigation is done, there can be a phase 2 kind of audit where we do verify what all our vulnerabilities has been identified, it has been mitigated or not, and accordingly revalidation status also can be incorporated in the final report. So these are the earlier slide was the summary sheet where we have given the graphical interface, and now this slide is the details one. As you can see, the identification are critical, the CVSS ranking, description of the vulnerability, what is the possible impact, and why we are saying this. It cannot be just a comment, right? So how we are saying the SQL injection was present, there is some POC, and once you do the revalidation, post POC or post revalidation or mitigation, we'll have those POC remarks on the closure, and accordingly final report will be prepared. So fundamentally, this is the philosophy, as I have earlier slide also mentioned. It comes from NIST kind of framework where we try to detect the possibility, the vulnerabilities, the anomalies. Accordingly, we create, prepare, have our defense mechanism, and accordingly we'll remediate. And this goes on as a continuous life cycle. Fundamentally, as an organization, we help enterprises to identify vulnerabilities proactively and mitigate those with the automated kind of a response, so that we can build immunity inside our heterogeneous landscape, so that we can come out of our traditional big freeze approach where if some problem comes, then only we'll go to a resolve. Rather, we are trying to create a system and immunity so that it doesn't go down, and the actual consequences, which is nothing but losing business, disruption of business, that doesn't occur at all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time today. We have discussed in a very layman's terms, in a easy way, what is vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. If you have any questions, do connect with us, drop us a message. Do not forget to like our channel for the future updates. Thank you very much.